and welcome to Smaulgld. In case you missed it, top gold, silver, and cryptocurrency stories for the week ended September 30th, 2018. Good evening. Poland adds gold to reserves for the first time in decades. Other stories we're going to be covering. The Kavanaugh Supreme Court confirmation has been postponed for at least a week pending an FBI investigation. The SEC settles its case versus Elon Musk. Rosenstein, Comey, Lynch, and others under presidential and congressional scrutiny. China cuts tariffs and taxes and loosens and expands credit. And Bcash leads the week's cryptocurrency gains. Silver rebounds sharply and gold was flat. Those are some of the stories we're going to cover in this week's Week in Review. Don't forget to get your Smaulgld Super Classic mug shown right there. And your Smaulgld Classic mug shown there. They are $23.99 and $19.99 respectively, with free shipping in the continental US. And this week we'll be adding a Smaulgld Game Changer Eraser to your order. So if you order them tonight, tomorrow, you should get them by the end of the week. I do ship priority mail with tracking. Okay, let's take a look at what happened during the week. So many of you know that I do a weekly 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live stream on YouTube, and since it's each and every night, 7 days a week, each week we do a recap of the 6 that we did. So early in the week we did a silver COMEX COT and EFT update. We talked about American Silver Eagle sales in another live stream being the best since 2015. Now remember, the live streams also give you an opportunity to ask questions, make comments, and we do get a lot of really smart comments, so please join us live. You can review the comments also that were made in the discussion we have. So generally the format is I talk for 15, 20, 30 minutes, show some charts, give some data, some analysis, maybe an opinion. Then I turn it over to the crew that happens to be following along. We also did one on how big are Turkey's silver imports and Turkey's silver mining production, all worth going back and taking a look at. And then we did a couple of nights in a row how much silver has been leaving that JP Morgan COMEX vault. 1.1 million left one day, then another 1.7 million left. All in all, in September, the COMEX vault, the JP Morgan COMEX vault, has shed almost 6 million ounces. End of dollar hegemony. I brought back, haven't done one in a while, the Smaulgld subscribers sound off I had on Ayn Rand. We talked about pretty much everything the dollar for a good 40-45 minutes. I'm gonna have on this week, I hope, John Moore. He is a Litecoin, I would say, evangelist. He works for a payment processor. We're gonna get some inside scoop on how Litecoin is working there. We've yet to schedule that. And then I hope to have a very special surprise guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is, and you may never find out if I don't get him. All right, does COMEX have enough silver to prevent a default? That was done last night. And tonight we did, does COMEX have enough gold to prevent a default? So that's what happens each and every night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. All right, so let's see. Gold closed the week at 11.92. Is actually down from 11.98 last week. Silver managed to grow to 14.64, up from 14.25, and the result on that was that the gold silver ratio, which had been earlier in the month at 85:1, has gone down to about 81.3:1, and that's a result of, first, silver not dropping as much as gold but actually rising during the month. So good news for silver. This is just a quick point. I made this on one of the live streams. People have been talking about Bitcoin, Litecoin. They're the mark of the beast, and they're going to usher in a cashless society, and it's all a plot. Now, I've done a series on the cashless society going back 4 or 5 years, and the cashless society was already in place and coming well before Bitcoin and Litecoin. And here's, I don't know who's study this is, but only 8% of the world's currency exists as physical cash, which is unbacked cash anyway. We already are cashless. Nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just another form of digital cash that in a society that's mostly largely digital anyway. Now, is Kanye trending? Interesting, just a social point, but I guess it's part and parcel of the times. Kanye West was on Saturday Night Live last night, and I understand he's very popular, but he's also a Trump supporter, which makes him unpopular. And he went off on some type of Trump defense last night, but they cut him off on Saturday Night Live. But yet, the video surfaced. I think Chris Rock had a video, and there are other people who managed to take videos of him giving his Trump support. And the reason I asked if Kanye was trending, I saw a lot of these stories in my feed, a lot of the clips, but Twitter acted like it wasn't a big story. They were pushing some New York Times article or something. So it's very interesting. It's really like a shadow ban. They don't want you to know that there's this story. And clearly Saturday Night Live didn't want him to go on. Yeah, he had his MAGA hat on and he was going off. Okay, now, we spent a couple of minutes on the Kavanaugh confirmation. You probably already know what's going on, so I don't want to spend a lot of time filling you in. I'll just give you a couple of quick points. So early in the week, about 10-15 days ago, first of all, they had the allegations that he had assaulted a woman in high school. When he was 17, she was 15. And then they came out with more allegations. Someone, he displayed himself at a party, wasn't substantiated. Then Avenatti came out and said his client went to 10 parties. He was there standing outside the door while gang rapes were going on. It got more lurid as things went on. Then an anonymous claim came in that he was on a boat in Rhode Island harassing people. That one turned out to be false. They've shown that one's false. But the point being is that in light of all of these allegations, Kavanaugh sent out a letter and said, I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm going to stay in the game. Okay. And that all led people to think that this showdown, so to speak, where Blasey Ford would come in and give her testimony, then he'd come in and give his testimony, would never happen. Just because I think people were thinking that the damage was already done and he was just going to withdraw. But I guess by him saying he wasn't going to withdraw and Trump not asking him to withdraw, they came to this climatic he said, she said, or he said, they said, as Lindsey Graham mentioned the other day, type of testimony that we had on Thursday. And there were a lot of, people taking swipes at both parties, people trying to make it sound like one's lying, the other's lying, back and forth, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's basically where it was. And then we had this Julie Swetnick person come in from Avenatti. And the first thing I noticed was that that one seemed odd just because it was 10 parties she went to. It wasn't, and then she claimed to have been raped at one of them, and that the ages didn't work out for me because she was a college student. These were high school parties, and it would just seem something like this. You could see how Miss Ford's allegation could go unremarked because it's basically 1 or 2 or 3 people. But in this case, 10 parties, gang rapes going on at all of them. It just seems that there's far too many people involved for somebody not to have mentioned something somewhere. And we haven't heard that. But in any event, that one is... but then what happened was they met, they had their testimony, and it looked like there wasn't going to be no one changed their mind. It was basically people saying, she's credible, he's credible, she's not credible, he's not credible, she's a plant, he's unstable, but nothing where I saw it was going to change the vote. It was going to be Republicans are going to vote for him and the Democrats are going to vote against him. And it was the same thing. A couple of red state Democrats might vote for him. A couple of Republicans might not vote for him. And then the only monkey wrench that came, I shouldn't use that term, I forgot. No, it is a monkey wrench. I don't think there's any reason not to use that term. Was Senator Flake came out and said, okay, I'm going to vote for him. And then people thought, okay, well, if he votes for him, then Collins will vote for him, and Murkowski will vote for him, and maybe even a red state Democrat might vote for him, and this whole thing will be over. What happened when the Judiciary Committee met to basically approve him 11-10, that's how it was going to be, with the Republicans voting to approve and the Democrats voting not to, and then to recommend a floor vote on Tuesday. Jeff Flake at the last minute struck a deal with another Democrat that they would agree to have if they could get the McConnell and Schumer and Donald Trump to agree to have an FBI investigation in light of the allegations, specifically for a week, and then they would feel comfortable holding the vote a week later. So that put a hold on everything, and Trump agreed, and then they started the investigation almost immediately. Apparently it's ongoing now. And then there were some concerns that maybe the investigation would be rushed or wouldn't be inclusive of even the claims of Ms. Swetnick. And apparently the way that stands now is Trump told them to investigate whatever you think relevant. Now, they may decide that the Swetnick investigation, there's nothing they can investigate, or they may investigate for 5 minutes and say they haven't found anything, or maybe they get a hot lead and they continue to investigate. It's an odd situation because you really should never put, and the Democrats rightly point this out, and it fits their narrative, you can't really say, well, we'll investigate for a week and that's it. Chances are you could wrap it up in a week, but chances are you find something, maybe it's not conclusive, but you say, I still have to interview this person, I got to interview that person, I got to go visit this site. You may not get it done in a week. So it's possible this thing won't get done in a week, but I think they're focused on the particular allegations, and I don't think there's not much evidence really that you can find after 36 years of testimony, because they've spoken to all the people, so chances are they're going to say the same thing. But what turned all this around supposedly was this guy right here, Senator Flake, got an earful from two women about him approving Kavanaugh, and they were survivors of assault, and the cameras are going, and then of course he goes upstairs and then supposedly goes and meets with the Democrats and says, let's do the right thing and have an FBI investigation. And then Trump soon thereafter approved to have the probe. And there he is. Now, interesting, Trump did not bash Ford. Actually, no one bashed her, as you would expect. But I think in the environment, they realized that they would come across as harsh, and they may lose public sentiment if they went after her and tried to point out inconsistencies in her stories. You know, the normal things that defense attorneys would do to a rape victim. They try to paint them in the worst possible light, that they're drunk, they're promiscuous, they're asking, you know, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the Senate did not go that route, and nor did Donald Trump. But one of the things that was interesting is that Trump does want to find out, as part of the investigation, who leaked the papers, because the story is that Ms. Ford supposedly did not want to come forward, wanted to be kept confidential, but Feinstein held on to the documents, didn't share them in a confidential setting with her Republican colleagues, where they could have kept confidentiality. They could have interviewed Ms. Ford. They could have interviewed Kavanaugh. And if they wanted to, they could have ordered an FBI investigation over the last 2 months. But the interesting thing is Feinstein held on to the letter. Then it got leaked. And then she didn't release the letter. So Feinstein seems to be in a bit of hot water over how she handled this. And I say FBI investigation, careful what you wish for, because what you don't want to happen if you're on the Democratic side is for them to uncover stuff about Ms. Ford. Remember those types of tough questions? The FBI is not going to care about perception. They're not going to ask questions because they're prosecuting her, but they're going to get information from her. And I would imagine the information they may get is she had troubles in high school, and she was drinking at a young age, and she may have had sexual partners. They may say that, you know, maybe she was not in a position to be able to actually tell what was going on at that. That's the doubt that may come from an investigation. And then, of course, if there's doubt on her side, then it's worse than her insisting. See, when she appeared in front of Congress, she's credible because no one's questioning her, and she's forceful, and she says, yes, I'm sure, yes, 100%. Okay. And there's nothing to indicate. No one tried to interrogate her to make her not seem believable. So she seems believable. But as I mentioned, in an investigation, they're not trying to make her, they're not trying to uncover things that'll make her not credible, but as part of the questioning, the information they're going to gather is going to make her seem less credible by design, because any other information other than her denial is going to raise doubts that maybe she's not sure, because they're obviously going to put stuff in those 302s. So I'm not sure unless they can come up with, and this would be bad for Miss Ford, because she didn't need to go through this, is what some people are saying, that she could have made her claim and not have to be public. But in any event, so we'll see what happens there. But then there was another thing the Judiciary Committee came out and said, and this was referring to, but could possibly mean the Swetnick case, but I don't think so. It specifically addresses the Rhode Island case where the person admitted that they just made it up and sent it in anonymously, that the committee is going to refer the FBI for criminal investigation for potential false statements. Now, that's another reason for Miss Ford to be concerned as well. She may have made false statements inadvertently across the board. Now, I doubt they'd prosecute her for that unless they found ill intent. But there's things out there like when she put the door in. That's not criminal. But again, it goes to, well, can we believe her on this? And so this is a mess. I think that you have armchair lawyers all determining, I believe her, I believe him. You don't know anything. You can't believe him or her, because you really haven't. People believed him or her even before they even saw the testimony. They believe what they want to believe, and I see that in the gold and silver markets. You can't say you believe. You can intuitively say, oh, I think he's lying, or I think she's lying, but you don't know. And for a congressman or a senator to say they believe one or the other is because they want to believe that. I think we're moving away from the rule of law and into the rule of who I want to believe and who makes the better statement. But then what was also interesting was the ABA had given Kavanaugh some type of, I don't know what they do. If you get some type of, I don't know if it's a recommendation, you get a rating from the ABA. I don't know how they rate you, but apparently they rate you. And after the Ford testimony, the president of the ABA sent out a letter seeming to retract the rating, but apparently he did it on his own. He didn't do it with the advice and consent or the voting of the standing committee on the ABA, and the ABA came out the other day and said, that's his opinion, not ours. Our ratings remain the same. All right, enough on the Kavanaugh. That'll play out however it plays out. But it is very divisive, that issue, because people have their heels dug in. He didn't do it. He did do it. And you're not going to get anywhere with that. Because they're not going to prove anything. You can't at this stage of the game. It's just going to be, I believe him, I believe her, and that's it. Trump was at the UN. Now, he said he gave all the country's doing greater and everything. People laughed. They say he was laughing at him. Who knows? U.S. and Korea signed a free trade agreement. That was interesting. That got totally swept under the rug with all this Kavanaugh hearing stuff. Argentine peso tumbles as central banker resigned. Now this one's interesting. 2016 election. This is in New York. It says 80,000 votes in 3 states put Trump in the White House. Now meticulous analysis of online activity during the campaign makes a powerful case that cyber attacks by Russian hackers and trolls were decisive. Presented without comment. All right. Now, Trump is starting to say, and there is a lot of rhetoric now ratcheting up on China, saying that China is interfering with the U.S. election. Now, there is more validity to the China, I don't know about the election, but China was proven to have hacked into a lot of major U.S. bureaucracy servers and so on a few years ago. Nothing was said about it. They made a big deal about Russia, and I don't doubt it. I think all foreign entities are all trying to, and the United States too, spying everybody. But this one's interesting. This is about the shadow bans that we follow. James Wood refuses to delete meme that said he got locked out of Twitter. Now, I saw the meme. It was 3 guys, and who knew whether it was a legitimate ad? I think it was a joke meme, but they were saying that they were staying home to give the women's voice more power. He tweeted that out. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know what was offensive about it, but they didn't like it. And they've locked him out as an account. And he's saying they want him to delete. And he said, no, thank you. So he's off. I remember he walked out of Twitter like a year or so ago. And he said he had enough. And then he came back saying he wanted to be heard. Very strange. I mean, there are things on Twitter that are offensive to anybody. I mean, really offensive. I'm not talking about pictures of 3 guys looking goofy. But anyway. The end is near, says trouble brewing. This one, Tesla and Elon Musk, is just astound me with what they do, what they get away with, and how the market cap of that. This is an investment advice. This is just my utter astoundment as to how this company is still respected and is considered going places, worth a lot of money. The guy just tweets, to impress his girlfriend apparently, that he was going to take the company public when the price was $380. He was going to take it to $420. The stock. I mean, that's clear violation of SEC rules. They bring a suit against him. And then he settles for, you just can't do that anymore. And you can't be the chairman of the company. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, it seems to me it's a clear violation of SEC rules. Besides the market cap, I mean, the company doesn't make any money. He says they're going to be cash flow positive. They're not. Stock prices makes the company worth billions. They have delays in shipments. They have accidents. And yet there's a lot of promise for this company. I don't understand it. And then he goes on Joe Rogan. He's smoking dope. I mean, some people think that's unstable. I know in many places marijuana is legal, but still, CEOs drinking and smoking in public is generally not perceived as a sign of stability. In any event, what he ends up having to do is step down as the chairman of Tesla, but he can stay being the CEO. Now, most companies, as I point out, that's not a penalty. Many companies, as a matter of good corporate governance, have independent chairmen anyway. So, now he does have to pay, I think, $20 million. So it was a pretty expensive tweet. But again, he's got $20 million probably. And by the way, the government subsidizes Tesla, which means they're just getting their money back from the subsidy. So you lend this company money, it goes out and violates the securities laws, and you get your return on investment by fining them. All right, Muller, Manafort, Muller, all those stuff, Comey, Page, Brennan, FBI. Brennan is on the rampage. He's out there praising Ballsy Ford and going against Kavanaugh. Very partisan out there right now. But anyway, I think what's happening is the Mueller investigation is headed away from Russia, and the investigation now into FBI, Mueller is headed towards Russia because they're asking for documents. Trump said he's going to declassify documents, and it's all pointing back towards those actors. With the declassification of the documents by the president relating to the FISA warrant, which allowed the FBI to spy on the Trump campaign, Carter Page, as well as looking at Comey's emails, Strzok's emails, Page's emails, all declassified. Clearly, they're going to uncover something. I mean, there's already been a lot uncovered, and the investigation will probably head ping-pong back towards the investigators. Also, the House Judiciary Committee sent a subpoena for Andrew McCabe's memos. We've seen Congress asking for more documents. Here, House Republicans probing FBI. DOJ have sent new round of interview requests to Comey, Lynch, Yates, Simpson, Papadopoulos. I think that after the midterms, depending on who wins, you're going to see a lot heading in that direction. Even if the Democrats win, the Congress won't be able to do the investigation into the investigators because the Republicans will control those Democrats will control those committees. But then Trump will do it. Clearly, at that point, he'd fire Sessions if he didn't do it, fire Rosenstein. I mean, it would be scorched earth going the other way. Now, if the Republicans hold the House, he'll let them do it just for appearances. Either way, I think that's going to happen. And then the wild card is, when does Mueller either spring his I guess, his findings on Trump and whether they implicate Trump or not, or whether he just walks away quietly and says, I'm done with this. I've turned over Manafort and Flynn and Papadopoulos, and I've got nothing else to do here. Also during the week, kind of forgotten, there was a story that Rod Rosenstein suggested to some people the day he got appointed. I'm going to wear a wire and prove that Trump is out of his mind and get him impeached under the 25th Amendment. Now, this led a lot of people to think it was a trap to get Trump to fire him. And then there was a story where he was supposedly headed to the White House, where he was going to be fired, or he had already turned in his resignation and was just going to go tell Trump. And then I guess the reporters are kind of thinking everyone's dumb, or they're dumb. Didn't realize that Trump wasn't at the White House for Rosenstein to go see him. He was going to the White House for a regularly scheduled meeting, but not to see Trump, because Trump was, as we saw, he was at the UN getting laughed at. So that story kind of fizzled. But Rosenstein has three issues. First, he's got the story. He said he was going to wear a wire. Other people heard him. He said he was just kidding. Others say he wasn't. But the other thing is he's refused to comply with congressional documents requesting that they've requested, and he's facing impeachment from them. But I think his biggest trouble, those are big deal, but I think his biggest issue is he is a witness and an actor in the Russian investigation that he's overseeing, and he's conflicted. Here's why. He signed the third or fourth FISA warrant. Well, that led to the investigation into Trump, and he's appointed an investigator to investigate that. But that means I'd have to investigate what he did. Also, the other thing they're investigating Trump for is not just Russia, but is that as part of the Russian investigation, that he tried to obstruct justice by firing James Comey, the FBI director. But he fired James Comey in part, yes, he said at Russia, because of Russia in a Holt interview, but he also had a memo from Rosenstein that said he had to be fired. So if anyone should be conflicted and shouldn't even be there, it's Rod Rosenstein. He should have never taken that position. And he should never have appointed Muller either, unless there was or he shouldn't have been the one to appoint him. But here, Lisa Page says that Rosenstein was serious about secretly recording Trump. So there's he said, she said. Now, Trump was supposed to meet with Rosenstein, and he said, you know, because of this Kavanaugh stuff, I don't want to get mixed. He was supposed to meet him on Thursday. He never did. I guess he'll meet with him next week. Who knows? I think he says he wants to keep him. He'll probably just keep him. Well, did China cry uncle? China to cut import tariffs on some goods starting November 1st. Now, we don't know if those include U.S. goods, but clearly the impact of the U.S. tariffs have had some impact. ECB says U.S. has most to lose from the trade war. China would benefit. Of course, that's what the ECB says. China, gold-backed yuan. They reveal its new party line. We're trying to save the world from the U.S. And good luck with that, with the social credit score. Call it stimulus, call it patriotic, but don't call it debt dodging. The China Beige Book says a policy that allows small businesses to renew a working capital loan without first repaying the original loan is not a tool for them to dodge their debt. I don't know how it isn't. You don't pay your first loan, you give them a second loan, you're dodging your debt. But the regulators clarified that that's not what that is. Okay. China said they were going to deleverage. They started, you can see here, and then, forget about that. We have to continue to move our economy through borrowing. Alibaba and other Chinese heavyweights eyed Turkish assets after the lira fell. And there's another story about China moving into Turkey. Google under fire, dodging questions about China during Senate privacy hearings. Now, cryptocurrencies, they rose during the week. Brazil's largest independent broker is launching a crypto exchange. Stable coins are a big deal. I'm not going to cover them. I did a podcast, YouTube on that a while back on what they are and why they're important. But ZPay, this is a big story. ZPay is an Indian exchange on Friday, said that on Friday they were going to close down because the Reserve Bank of India doesn't allow banking interactions with the two of them. So they said, the hell with it, we're out. We're going to give you back your coins. You can still use the wallet, but no more trading platform. Lots of Bitcoin, they say, in active wallets near record highs. So a lot of holding going on. People think that Bitcoin is set to skyrocket. There's one here. Bitcoin went up 20%, but there's one story here about how Some guy thinks Ethereum is going to be like $1,800 by the end of the year. But here's something that's going on all the time. Veeam and Goldman Sachs announced partners for seamless small business payments. Payments are a huge deal for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and it's not pie in the sky. There's a lot of Goldman Sachs style, VC style money moving in to try to get payment systems using cryptocurrencies. SEC's first ever enforcement against cryptocurrencies firm failing to register as broker-dealers. See, they want people to register. They're not against cryptocurrencies. They're against unregistered broker-dealers, against unregistered trading platforms, against unregistered ICOs. They want to move everything into registered, regulated. Barrick's Gold, they merged with Rand Gold. That's interesting. India likely to raise import duties on precious stones, but spare gold. Yeah, some stuff on Russian gold. Indonesians snap up gold as local markets stumble. Now here's the story we're talking about, a headline. Poland preparing. National Bank of Poland bought 9 tons of gold in the summer. They claimed 2 tons in June and 7 tons in July. Now there's no record of this. At least they didn't report it to the IMF. We're not sure if they've actually purchased it. Might make sense for them to purchase it if they might decide to pull out of the EU over immigration or something else. They have 109 tons. If they bought that gold, I don't know where they would have put it. Now, there's a long history behind Poland's gold from World War II. They knew the Nazis were coming. They shifted it to France. Then the French got taken over. Then it was in New York, and they were trying to get it back from the French. I think the long and short of it is most of it's now in London, and they wanted to get that back. There was like a Get Our Gold or whatever it was called back in 2013. I think it's still in London. If they did buy 9 tons, who knows where they bought it. But we're going to follow up on that, Polish gold, next week, do a full report on it. It would be the first gold bought by a EU member in over 20 years. Remember, I always point this out. The central banks are buying gold. No, they're not. Only Russia's buying gold. That's about it. The others are not buying gold. We're not even sure if Poland actually made this purchase. Germany sells 4 or 5 tons a year to make gold coins. They don't replace it. Italy, France have not added any gold. Netherlands hasn't added any gold, but they repatriated some. Portugal hasn't added any gold. England sold a lot of their gold back in the early 2000s. Hasn't added any. Switzerland sold 60% of their gold, who hasn't added any in the last 20 years. So all the major nations of Europe have not added gold, none of the EU. The only ones who are adding, Kazakhstan and Russia. Little gold was added earlier in the year to Turkey. They've stopped because they have issues. They sold some gold. So we're going to have to watch that one. Crypto Pump, this guy Brian Armstrong, he runs Coinbase. 1 billion people will be using cryptocurrency in 5 years. Maybe right, he may be talking nonsense. Major Ethereum pump. Fundstrat's Tom Lee about to rally strongly. Ether 1900 by year end. I didn't even open this article. 1900. You know what the price is today? It's $232. But this is the best pump. This is Bank of America. Gold set to soar above 1,300 ounces. Set to soar. You can't use a more pumper phrase than set to soar, other than set to skyrocket. So gold. Bank of New York says gold set to soar. All right, that about does it. I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight, and join me each and every night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Smaulgld live stream on YouTube. Also remember, if you'd like, and I would like you to invite you to become a Smaulgld patron. We have a number of patron levels. You can sign up right here from the site, and when you do so, you can become a $2 or $5 patron. If you become a $25, you become a Smaulgld Mug Club patron, and you get a free Smaulgld mug on your first donation. That is the classic mug. And if you become a Smaulgld Double Mug Club, you get both the classic and the super classic mug. So the 2 mugs that you would get, first you would get this one for joining the mug club, the $25 mug club, and you'd get both the classic and super classic mug when you become a Smaulgld Double Mug patron. Also, you can visit the Smaulgld store. You can buy hats, travel mugs, corkscrews, what's this? This is an espresso mug, a lot of Smaulgld products. Also, you can donate via Litecoin. There's Litecoin, Bitcoin, PayPal. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time.